Okay. Okay, so it's streaming now. All right. Sophie, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. So I was saying, let's assume you want to make this particular div. You can see this div has a class of paragraph 1. This div has a class of paragraph 2, right? So let's assume we want to make this one blue and we want to make this one green. What you have to do is simple. So we're going to go, yes? Sorry, hold on. So what we're going to do is working. So what you're going to do is very simple. Okay, so you would select, you know how I've been selecting elements so far. If it's a paragraph, you just select the P element. If it's a heading, you just select, if it's H1, you select it. If it's H2, you select it. You know that's how we have been doing it, right? But when it comes to this, when it comes to styling with a div and a class, it's different. The first thing you have to do to select it, you have to use the full stop sign and then you write paragraph 1. You write the name of the class. So that tells the browser that, okay, oh, she is selecting this paragraph 1, this class in paragraph 1. So that means I am only going to focus on everything that is inside this div for paragraph 1. Okay, so let me do that. So you select it, you write it paragraph 1. All right, and the rest is just like we have been doing. You open your curly brackets like this. So the first thing we want to do, background color. We want to change the background color. P, are you there?
Yes.
Background color. All right, are you following me?
Yes.
So let's change the background color to blue. Okay, now if I run it, you see only this one is blue. You see that the rest of the code did not change. If I want to make the second one red, I can do it. Now let's select the second one. We're going to make it paragraph. Sorry, I forgot the full stop. You put another full stop again. Full stop. Now let's select paragraph 2. Paragraph 2. And now we're going to make the background red. Red. Okay. So now if I run this, do you see it?
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Now, so now for this particular website that you're seeing, this is how we change the background column, the background to that color. Where is it, sir? Okay. So what we did was that hold on, sorry, I'm trying to see if there's a radius, if there's a border. Okay, yes, now I know. So what we did there, which is what you're also going to do. So pay attention because you're going to do this in your code. Okay. So how we changed that was that you can see a div here and you can see the class container, right?
Yes.
So what we did was that we wrapped the entire code in a div and we named that div container. This div here, you can see the closing below. So I have to check your code. I don't know if you have a div that is rounding everything. All right. So let me first remove these two. Okay. So this container is already there. So I'm going to do, sorry. Okay, so that's a mistake. Okay. Hold on. Director is still here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run through each and every one of the properties so that you will understand. So since you like, I think you like the color green. So we're going to make the background here green. So you can use background, you can use background color. I think the um the browser will still accept it, because if I do background color green here, it should still work. But before I run the code, let me just explain to you one by one. So this box shadow property, let me show you what box shadow property does. If I go back here, do you see this thing? In short, let me look for the box shadow here. W3 school box shadow. So this is what the box shadow does. You see this thing here? You see, it looks like it has a shadow behind it, right?
Yes.
That's exactly what a box shadow does. And because, let me see. Okay. You can see this is the, okay, they put, this is a div, all right? This is a div. So now, because it is the only div that is on the page, that's why they did not bother giving it a class. They just start the div. But you cannot do it like this, because if you do it like this, you have plenty divs on your code. So it's going to be, each of the div is going to be having different divs. So don't do it like this. Instead, it's better that you give it a class, just like I'm going to do now, and change it so you don't get confused. I'm going to give it a class, and I'm going to give that class box shadow. I'm going to name it box shadow. So we're going to style it like that, box shadow. Okay. So I'm going to come here. Remember how I said we are going to select it? You select it with a full stop, box shadow. All right. So if I run the code, you see it's still the same. Oh no, it's not the same. Why? Shadow. Okay, I made a mistake. All right. See, so literally they just gave it a width. All right, this width you can still make it 500. If you make it 500, it will be longer. See, it will be longer, and that's why if I come back to this code here, sorry, to this here. Oh, sorry. So this purple that you're seeing that is starting from here to here is a width that we use. This is a width of 70%. So if you give your container, if you give your container a style, if you give your container a width of 70%, it's going to have this size. But don't worry, we'll go to that. So I'm just telling you about box shadow. So the height also matters. They gave it a height of 100 pixels. So this height is 100. They gave it a padding. You know what a padding is now.
Yes.
We have done padding. So they gave it a padding of 15 all around. And then we gave it the reason why you would be wondering, and you might have a question that this up, you can see that the padding is 15, Abby. It has 15 on this side. But this, the under and the bottom, they don't look like 15 px padding, right?
Yes.
The reason is because this is a 500 px width. So the width of the container, the look, when you think of a div, see a div like a container. It is containing your text, it is containing your paragraph. So the container itself is big. The container is about 500 px, and the padding is only 50. So of course the paragraph is going to write, and it's just going to put the padding around it. If I put something, if I put, can I do this? Oh, it won't work. Okay. If this was in the paragraph, now let's assume I had the paragraph here. Oh, it won't still work. But that's the reason why there is so much space, because if there was no width and height, let's look at this. If there was no width and height and I run it, you can see it will become the 15px padding. All right. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. So they gave it a background color. This is just, we've done background color. You can make this red. All right. Yeah. But let's leave it at coral. Okay. Sorry. And now the box shadow. The box shadow is this black thing you are seeing that is making it look as if it has a shadow. All right. Can you see it?
Yes.
Sorry, hold on. Mm, okay. So it has a box shadow. Now the reason why you're seeing this 10px, 10px, they represent this. You can see it is only two, one, two. There are two corners there. If I put an extra corner, let me see. It now looks very blur. Do you see it?
Yes.
It looks blur. Let me see. I know that they also change the color. You can add color to it. You see, now it's red. Okay, because if you do it like this, it's sharper. All right. Most times, most box shadows are always red. So it's just like putting a shadow behind the box. That's basically what it is. By default, I think it's black by default. Okay. So this is it. If you think that, okay, maybe I want to make it blurry,
Hello,
you can do. Hello, ma.
how you doing?
Fine, ma. Good afternoon, ma.
Hello,
Hello, we can hear you, ma.
Oh,
can you hear me? Am I any better today?
We can hear you, but you can't hear us.
Okay, I can hear you now. I can hear you clearly. Mofi, how are you?
I'm fine now.
Okay. I network didn't allow me to come in much like yesterday. But how was class yesterday?
It was fine.
Okay, tell me just one or two things that you learned from yesterday's class.
I learned CSS
You started
and
CSS.
yes,
Okay, so what is CSS?
CSS is like the design that is used to like beautify the HTML.
Okay, what's the full meaning of CSS?
I've not been told.
Okay, write it
That's
down
true.
now. It's called cascading style sheet. Cascading style sheet. Mrs. Toha will maybe I'm sure she may have mentioned it or she could just have assumed you will know. And do you know the meaning of HTML?
No,
Eh?
no,
Okay, the full meaning also write it down is hypertext markup language. Hypertext markup language. And all these are supposed to be basics and you understand how when you see something similar it makes sense to you now. I like the fact that you use it to beautify, like you said, CSS is used to beautify HTML. So can you have CSS without HTML?
no,
Can you have HTML without CSS?
yes,
Sorry.
yes,
Yes, you can have it without, you can actually have HTML without beautifying it. It's almost like a child that you have not worn any clothes for. So the child will still exist. But you can't really apply CSS if there's no HTML. Okay? So, but overall, you get more beautiful, you apply more beautiful things using CSS. All right. Um, what else do you want to pick for me that you have learned?
uh, I learned border, different types of border radius, padding, and the colors and
Okay. Okay, so borders and on colors and radius and all that. Okay. What class are you?
SS1.
SS1. Okay, so you understand circumference, you understand what radius and the and all those some of the technical terms that you may come across. That's fine. Okay, I hope you are enjoying class overall.
Yes.
All right, great. So, well done, Mrs. Toha.
Yes, ma'am. So he had filled the
I'll
form
come back into
yesterday. I don't know
class.
if you saw it.
Huh?
The form, he has finally filled it yesterday. I don't know if you
Yes,
saw
yes,
it.
yes. I saw it. I saw
Okay,
it
no
yesterday.
problem.
Yes.
All right, ma'am.
So some of obviously some of the meanings and some simple stuff like that. They will come across it as you go on.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right then. I am keen on him using some of the videos as resource. Okay, since he will have
Yes,
some
ma'am.
time. So let's incorporate it into the assignment against next week.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right then.
All right, ma'am. Okay. So can you still see my screen? Can you still see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, so that is what border radius is. So if you go to your code, where is the code now? So if you go to your code like this, you see in the container we kept box shadow, but we did not even I didn't bother to put a what's it called, a number on it because I didn't really want it to be obvious. All right, so I just wrote that I wanted a black let me even see what that means because this is what I did, black shadow. If I just write black here, it literally has no effect. So maybe you don't even need the box shadow. Maybe that was a mistake. We don't need a box shadow on the container. But you know what box shadow is, right? So
Yes.
we have done background, we have done border radius. You already know. So when you see color like this, when you see that they're not writing maybe background color, or just know that they are talking about the text. Okay. That means they want the color of the text black. That's what you mean when you see color like this. But once there is background color, then you know what they're talking about. The color is just maybe this line color. You don't want to- So this 70%. It means that if we are doing, like I said, see a big advantage. Now because we have put all the code inside we have cut it down. So
I can't really hear you.
oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. So should I go ahead?
Yes.
Okay, so now that means that we're going to make the size of the container to be 70. All right. So when I run it, you will see it. When I run the code, you will see it. We're going to make it 70%. So I've not taught you about margin, but I'll teach you about margin. And so we did font family yesterday, but you might not need that. Just use the default font family that you have. Okay. So if I run this code now, I've deleted the paragraph code. If I run this, do you see it?
Yes.
You see, if I make this width 50%, all right. If I make it 50%, you see it's smaller. If I make it 80%, it is bigger. All right. So that is how we're able to get this background you are seeing. If you don't want it, if you just want everything to be that color, maybe you don't want to do it like, you can just remove this width. If you remove the width like this, okay, you see everything will change. But maybe you want to do it because that's I just made it to have style like that. So it's entirely up to you if you want to put it or if you want to leave it. For me, I just liked how it looked like this. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Any questions?
No.
All right. So another thing that we're going to do, um let me go to, so I've done box shadow. Hold on. So I want to teach you about some things about the text. So let me just go straight and do it instead because there's a lot. But if you notice, if you come to this our page, you notice that everything in the page is in the middle, right? Everything is being written in the middle. That's
Yes.
because I made everything text align center. We aligned all the texts to the middle. If I write it here, text align, all right, text align. Am I correct? Let me check. Where did I do this now? Okay, let me check here. Sorry. Yeah, text align. Okay. Yeah. So if I write text align here and I said center, right? Now if I run this code, everything moves to the center. If I say text align right, because I think by default everything goes to the left by default. So if I say right, everything moves to the right. Okay, but this is not really, this doesn't look nice. So you can leave it at the center here. There is also something called text decorator. Text decoration. But we'll learn that one when we're doing lists and navigations. Don't worry. Okay? Please hold on, give me a moment. Do you have any questions so far?
No.
Are you understanding it so far?
Yes.
So do you see how CSS is
Yes.
beautifying the HTML?
Yes, I can see.
So hold on. I'm trying to just hold on. Are you still there? Because I can't even hear you again.
I'm still there.
Because director wants you to do certain things. So I want to check some videos to see what you can do before I go ahead. Uh, Contacts from, okay. All right, very good. No problem. So this is basically how you do it, okay? So I said I was going to teach you about margins today. Let me show you what margins does. I've taught you about padding because they are very important. You will use them eventually. CSS margin. Okay. So now margin is the same thing as padding. It is just literally they have um the same systematic way of writing. All right. Now the difference is that while padding is the space that is inside, okay? When you have a border like this, there's a border around the border. This is the border, right? You know how to do this border now, right?
Yes.
So let's assume I give you a padding. Let me give you
The
a
other
padding.
is not.
Sorry, I know the audio is terrible. I understand, all right? But just bear with me. So now let's assume I give it a padding of 20 pf. Now it's like this. Let me show you what margin does. This is the margin. I remove the margin. Oh, it just goes to the top of the document. So margin is the space that is around the border. Okay. If I want to give this, let me give this a margin of 100 here. You will see that it will create a space. Sorry, this should be 100. Do you see? It creates a
Yes.
space here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You see, it creates a space here. If I give it a margin, let's say I add, okay, let's say I want to make the top, both the top and the bottom 100, and I want to make the sides. Let me say I want to make the sides 50px because, like I said, it's just like doing a padding. Sorry, is this right? No, because I wrote margin top, it's supposed to be just margin because I'm doing everything inside one. See, so now there's a margin of 50px here. There's a margin of 50px here. So most times, if you want to bring, maybe you want to bring. Let me go back to our code. Do you understand? Maybe you want to bring this your page, although there's no reason why you should do that. But let's assume you want to bring the page down. This page is long. That other one is just a body. But let's assume I want to bring this page down. And I say margin top. Let me have a margin top of 100px. If I run it, you see, there's a space here. But you don't really need it because this page is long enough to scroll. So you can just leave it where it is. If the page was very, very short, let's assume that the page was as short as what we have here. Sorry, what we have here. You know, this is a very short, there's nothing here. You cannot decide to bring it to the middle, but we don't need that there. We can just leave it where it is. But I just want to show you what margin is about. So padding is the space that is inside. Now let's use this mate blessing, this H2 that is here. Let me give this H2 a border because there is a border already. So I suggest that you change your border color to white. So if I give the H2, and I say border 1px solid white, all right. Sorry. And I say padding. Let me give it a padding of 5px or 10px. I don't know how many px did you use in your padding because it's so big. How many did you use on your page, Finn?
I use
I think you used 20. Maybe you should
30.
change it 30. Maybe you should change it T. When you use it like this, it's actually looking more fine. It's not too much. I just gave this one 10px. You see, it's looking very fine. All right. So if I say I want to give it, what else do I want to give it? Border radius of 4. If I run it now, see now it's rounded. So you can see it's almost looking like what you have on that screen, right?
Yes.
Exactly. So, um, okay. So we're going to learn about. Let me not rush this. Let me not rush this. So your assignment is that you're going to please share your screen. Let me first see. Share your screen. Let me see your code if you wrapped it in a container because you are going to have to do your own container by the next class. Use whatever colors you want to, but just make sure you do your container. So share your screen. Let me see.
Okay.
Let's make sure that we wrap your code in a container. Okay, so did you put it in a container? No. So the first thing that you want to do, you want to add a container. Let me see. Scroll down. Let me see. Scroll up back. Scroll up. Scroll to the beginning. So, okay, so I see that there is, okay, it doesn't have a container. So you're going to put a container div on top of the H1 now. You're going to put a container div on top of the H1. All right, so do that. Give it a div and a class. No, on top of the no, on top of the H1. It has to cover every, if you put it there, the compound is not, the composition about myself is not going to show. So the H1 has to be inside the div. So now, So
A
now
div.
everything will be there. Yes, start from there, put a div and a class. So you can give it a class of container because this is the container. Okay. You create a space. No, 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 delete the closing div. I'll show you where to put. The closing div will be at the end of the entire code. Okay, continue. No, now. Okay, so delete the closing bracket. Let me dictate how it works. I know you're just writing it for the first time. Delete the closing brackets. Just write div, delete the closing brackets. Oh, yes. Now put a space. Now class, write the class is equal to, aha. So write the name of the class inside their container because it's going to contain the whole code and you can style the entire page. Okay. Now close the brackets. All right, so delete the closing div. I'll show you where the closing div will be. You know where the closing div will be at the end of the code
Yes.
because you're wrapping the entire. So exactly, go and put it at the end of the code. So
Then
scroll down now. Scroll down now. Go and put the closing div now. Otherwise, it won't work without a closing div. So where do you think the closing div should be?
under
Under where?
after after container, then you click enter.
No, you have to wrap. I told you before, for you to be, because you want to style the entire, it's the entire code you are styling. You are giving it a background. So it will be at the end. So at the end of the code, scroll down now to the end. At the very end. Scroll down.
This is the end.
Yes, it's going to be the div before the but I don't know why is there so much space between your button and this last div. So where do you think the closing div is going to be?
Under HTML.
No. I've
Under
told you where you want to write code, your code ends at that last where body is. You cannot write any other code after that body. So if you're going to put a closing div, it's going to be where?
under body.
Before the body. Under the body is out after the body now. So it's going to be before the body. All right, very good. Because you cannot write code after the body. Okay, the body itself is like a container. Sometimes if you don't want to use a div, you can also use the body. Do you understand? If you don't use container like that, maybe you don't want to, you can also say, okay, you want to select body. Like stop sharing your screen. Save this code. Make sure you save this. Control S. Is it saving?
Yes.
Okay. So stop sharing. Let me share and show you. And that is why I said you cannot write codes outside the body. It's very important that you understand that. So you see this thing now, right? Let's assume that because I wanted to teach you about containers and div. Let's assume I don't want to use container and div. If I use body, if I use body, just body, you see it will still work. Okay. The only difference is that you will not be able to, this width will not work. Finya, are you there? I can't hear you again.
Yes, I'm there.
The only difference is that because you are styling the entire body and the entire body by default is 100%. So everything will change. You won't be able to give it that small, that styling that you gave it when it had 80, when it had 80%. Okay. By default, the body is 100%. That's why we always use container so that we can style everything. See, now when I change it back to container, the 80% width came out, but you cannot change the width of the body. You can, that's why you can't write code outside the body, because the body is like a rule. All right. So I'm going to teach you one more thing. I'm going to teach you how to style your button, and then that will be your assignment. So your assignment, I advise that you take a screenshot of this thing now, so that when you are doing your assignment, you know how to style your container and your button. All right. I'm going to give you 3 assignments. You're going to do your container and you're going to do it. So let me choose. This is a button here. All right. Okay. So when you want to style a button, because a button is not a class, okay, so you can just write it as button. So right now, the background color of your button is white right now. Okay. So let me change that to, let me give it gray. Or you can still leave it at white, because I think white and green is the theme of your page. So you can still leave it at white. All right. Let's leave it like let me just try gray. I want to see how that color looks like. Let's just say gray. Okay. So this is going to change the color of the background from white to gray. So now we gave it just remove this border. This is not there because there's already a border there. All right. So we talked about font size. So I just said, okay, I want the button to have a font size of 18px. This is not compulsory, but you might still use it if you want to. You already know what border radius is. You don't need this one. You don't need this one. Um, this is the color of the right top. So now, because we have a white background or a gray background, we're going to make the color of the text black. It's better that way, black. All right. So you can, let me see, maybe you can remove this. So the button needs a padding because you have to put space inside. You see it now that the space is really tiny. But now I have already put, you can see how the space is now. See it. You can see how the space of your button is now. There's almost no space here. Okay. Can you hear me? Is it
Yes.
still there? Okay, so there's almost no space here. So now, by the time I apply this code, you see that there is a space. Now, this transition thing, it is above your level, but I'm still going to show you what it is. So we also have a box shadow. This is this just simply means black. Just ignore it. You can just write black here. It's black. All right. And there is a margin. Why there is a margin is because it is too close to this link that is up here. So if I put it, remember I told you that the margin is the space around it. Okay, the padding is the space inside the box, while the margin is the space around the box. So if I put a 20px here now, there will be a space between this link and the button. So let's run that code and you will see how it looks like. Okay, do you see the color is gray? Let's make this white. Let me see, will white look fine? Okay, I think I prefer gray. But you can use whatever color you want. All right. Sorry, hold on. I think there is something missing. Hmm. It's not reflecting. This transition is not reflecting. And I don't know why. Hold on. It's supposed to be reflecting. Okay. Never mind about the transition. Let's leave it. Let's take it out. It really doesn't do anything. So this is what you should focus on. So you can see that there is a box shadow here, right? You can
Yes.
see it. If I remove this extra 5px now to be more darker, see it's more darker, but it's actually more finer when it's blurry. Oh, sorry. So is there anything in this button and this container design that you don't understand? Is there anything you don't understand?
Um, is the box shadow the one under the contact me that it can be blurry?
What did you say?
The box shadow that
Yeah,
you wrote 5px, 5px, is it
yeah.
not only for the contacts
Yeah, it's
me?
only for the contact me button. Yes, it's only for the contact me. That's why it's the only one that has it here.
Can it also be for 5px?
Yeah, yes. When you're doing your assignment, you can try it. You can decide to use four. That how will it look like? That's the thing about coding. You try a lot of things. Even me too, sometimes when I'm building website, I try a lot of things and you pick out what you want. You may say, okay, I don't like how four looks like. I like how five looks like. You can do four. It's almost the same. So if you want to do 10, you can do it. You just have to check it. Oh, does it look good? If it doesn't look good, you use something else. Do you understand? So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to give you classwork. For your aside from that, do you have any questions?
No.
Look at it very well. Are you sure you understand it? Let's just make this 20px. Are you sure you understand it? Do you have any questions?
Which one is margin again?
Okay, let me remove it so that you see what margin. Remember what I told you? I told you that padding is the space that is inside, right? Margin is the space outside. When we didn't have a margin, let me remove the margin. When there was no margin there, do you see how it is? You see that they are joined together. There's no space on top of the button. All right?
Yes.
Now, if I put a margin is the space around the border or a button. It can be a border, it can be a button. Now, if I put margin there, you see, there is a space. Let me just say margin top because you don't need a, or just, yes, margin top. Or you can say margin top, you can say margin. It doesn't really matter because there is nothing under after the margin. So whether or not you put there's a space here, it doesn't bother you. This is where you're concerned about the top. Do you understand now?
Yes.
Any other question?
No.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to give you a classwork. Okay. So for your classwork, do your container, style your container elements, style it, and I'll come back to you. Just give me, yes, style your container elements. That's your classwork before we leave.
Okay.